Hey there everyone, Bob here, and welcome to Gamer Nutrition. In this video here, it's been 1 week, 8 days of ketogenic dieting now, and I wanted to just kind of log a little bit of my thoughts, what has been going on in that first week, the progress that's been made, and just give you an idea of what maybe you could expect if this is something you decide you're going to try and do yourself. Okay, so 1 week in, and weight loss, I guess, is the main thing we should start off with, though it wasn't actually the most surprising thing of this. But I am currently down 11 pounds. 11 pounds in 1 week. Sounds amazing. I started off at 298. This morning I was 286.8, so I'm rounding it up to 287. The reason I say it's not as amazing as it sounds, 11 pounds would, by most any diets, would be too extreme, actually. That's because the first 3 days I lost about 7 pounds, all of which was probably water weight. I could tell really quickly I was putting out more liquid than I was taking in, if you get my drift. I drink 2 of these a day, okay? 2 to 3, whatever. I don't force myself to drink it, but generally I drink about 2 of those a day. There was more than 2 of those a day coming out of me. And within those first 72 hours, I could tell, like, just my stomach, it was smaller and firmer, but not because of weight loss. It was just the water, some bloating or water was just gone from me. So when you take the 7 pounds of water out, realistically I lost about 4 pounds in that week, which is still really good. A 4 pound a week diet is going to be one of the best ones you can find. Most diets want you to be losing between 1 and 2 pounds a week, because that means you're between 500 and like 1,000 calorie deficit a day. If you're losing more than that, that means your deficit is really, really high in terms of your caloric intake. So the weight loss, good. But as I said a moment ago, that wasn't the most surprising part of it. The most surprising part has been the lack of hunger, the general lack of hunger. The way I look at it is there's kind of 3 or 4 steps of hunger. There's not hungry at all. So is that part of hunger? Not hungry at all, full, whatever, not hungry at all. But there's, yeah, I could eat. Not really hungry, but yeah, I could eat. There's, let's go get something to eat. Yeah, it's time to eat. And there's, feed me now. So far, I've only been these 2. I've not gone to that third really bad one at all, which is surprising considering what I have been eating and the windows I've been eating it in. Pretty much from the get-go, I've been able to get over to the 16 and 8 fasting setup. That means no food for 16 hours, food in an 8-hour window. At first, the very first few days, so like Friday, I made it to about 11:30. My goal was 12 to 8. That was going to be my 8-hour window. I could eat lunchtime, noon till 8 p.m. I made it to about 11:15 where I was like, oh, I gotta eat. Went downstairs and started making some food and everything. And I was eating about 11:30, 11:45. That was Friday. Saturday, I made it to about 12:15. So I was kind of where I wanted to be. Sunday was a little bit of a different day. I was out mowing grass in the morning, so by the time I came in, I was really famished, but it was right about 12 o'clock anyway. So it worked out. Oddly though, post-Sunday, Monday, and then really Tuesday, so the night before I finished eating 8:10 p.m. The next morning I got up, I had my coffee. My coffee went with me in the car as I went to work and everything. I got done with the job I was doing. I was done at the customer site around 12:15, 12:30. And when I looked around me, I didn't see any place that was going to be good to get the type of food I was looking to have. High fat, moderate protein, no carbs, no sugar. That's what I was looking for. There was nothing really available locally where I was at. So I drove home. Got home around 1:32. Got on the computer. When I walked in, I wasn't famished. I wasn't really hungry. I got on the computer, was checking work emails and stuff. And next thing I know, it's like 4:15. I'm like, I haven't eaten yet. And I was just starting to get to that number 3 at that point. I was just past the, yeah, I could eat, to where, yeah, I'm pretty hungry. Let's go eat. I was just getting to that point. That's really good, especially coming off what it was before. So going back to my diet that I was on 4 years ago, that was low calorie constricted, 2,000 calories, low fat, carbohydrate, and protein focused. On that diet, by 9 hours after I'd eaten, I was hungry. By 12 hours, I was ravenous. I also had issues with hypoglycemia, which I will talk about in an upcoming video. It's a whole video onto itself going over hypoglycemia and how it affects you. But by 12 hours, like, I would inhale my food when I got it. I was ravenous because all the sugar, all the carbs were out of my body. The only thing left in my body to burn was either fat or protein, and my body wasn't burning it. What's going on now already after just 1 week, after like 4 days, by the time, like, my body will whatever I have in it, it will consume it in through the stomach and through the intestines. At that point, my stomach will feel empty. You'll get that empty feeling in your stomach, but I don't get the cravings because the body's like, all right, we're out of fats. We're no longer looking for the sugars, at least not as much. So we're out of the fat, but there's all this other fat in around the body for me to burn. So it starts to convert that. So the energy levels have still been pretty darn good right across the board without those cravings. This is great. This is spot on. This is exactly what I needed, because the willpower in order to fight the hunger cravings before, in order to stay at like 2,000 calories, to be sitting there at 10 o'clock at night and your stomach's growling at you and you're just really hungry, but you look at your calorie counter and you're already at you're at your calorie limit, maybe 10, 15 over, and it's like you just got to suck it up and go until the next morning, another 8 hours, give or take. That was rough. That's what wore me down in the long run. This one was just kind of like, yeah, I could eat, but that's kind of where I am right now. It's almost 5 o'clock here. So far today, I've had my coffee. I've had my breakfast, which was my lunch, which was 3 eggs, 4 strips of bacon. That was around 12:45, 1 o'clock. It's now 5 o'clock. All day, that's all I've had. So I'm like 800 calories in today, 900 calories in today. I'm getting a little hungry. You know, I'll go downstairs around 6:30 or so and start prepping my dinner. I'll eat it around 7:15, be done about 7:45. Be good. I'll be good until coffee the next morning, and I won't be that hungry. That's going to make that's really, when I started doing the research on ketosis and keto and all of that, and people talked about intermittent fasting and how it really controls your food cravings because it keeps your body burning on the fat itself. That's what really sold me on it. And I was hopeful. I'm like, come on, if this is true, if this is really what happens, it'll be great. 1 week in and I'm already, boy, this second and third week are going to be very important to see. If it stays like this, it might actually be easy. It might actually be easy. In which case I'm going to be kicking myself for doing 4 years of the hard shit. Well, what are you going to do? Let's see. I will do a video here. Probably the next video, I'll go over what it is I'm currently bringing in for my diet, my daily intake. I'll do that probably the next video. Let's just talk a few more things of what I learned. Okay, so while the energy levels have been there, I haven't had any like muscle fatigue or anything like that. I haven't had any problems doing my daily work and all of that. There was a little bit of mental fatigue. There were points where my brain just felt hazy. It felt like I'd been awake for 36, 48 hours, and I just wasn't mentally as sharp as I should have been. And that started, say, Sunday or Monday, and went through Thursday, Friday. Around Thursday, I started coming out of it. I don't know exactly when it was, but all of a sudden Thursday, I caught myself really wide awake. My mood had completely flipped. I was in this really good, I'm humming to myself, singing to myself, just being kind of silly, even though there was no one around. And I realized, like, wow, I'm feeling really good. Now, what I did realize then was I'd be up for an hour, 90 minutes, and then let's go this way. I'd be up for an hour, maybe 90 minutes, and then I'd crash. And it wouldn't be a crash, but it'd go back to like, just kind of a little slow, a little daisy. And then I'd be back up for 90 minutes, and then down for 90 minutes. So that's kind of how it was. Friday, it got a little bit better to where I'd be up for an hour, where I'd be up for 2 to 3 hours, down for maybe an hour, back up for 2 or 3 hours. So what's going on is your brain, part of what your brain needs to function is it needs, and I just forgot the word. I was preparing to say this and I just forgot the word. Starts with a G, not glycol, it is glucose. Your brain needs some glucose to run. Generally speaking, the glucose for a lot of people is going to come from their food. Glucose is in all your breads, all your starches, things along those lines. So you just extract that glucose from that through your digestion. Your brain uses that. However, your body can actually literally produce its own glucose. For me, my body probably hasn't produced glucose on its own. Let's see, I'm 35 years old, probably in 35 years. It's probably never had to produce its own glucose. Okay, maybe as a baby, we'll say 34 years, it hasn't had to produce its own glucose. So my system's starting to figure that out, starting to work up, get things going. And it's getting better as we go on. I think by Tuesday, Wednesday, I should be through that and should be okay. So that is part of it. Other than that, things have been great. There's a common thing called the keto flu for people that first go on the ketogenic diet. I've not had any issues with that. There are people that get real bad cravings. They go nuts. There's this lady I was talking about. She caught herself one morning down in the kitchen, literally eating a teaspoon of ketchup. She was squirting ketchup onto a teaspoon, eating it for the sugar because she'd thrown everything else out in her kitchen that had sugar in it or carbohydrates in it. I've had no problems with that at all. In fact, I've not cleaned out my kitchen. I've thrown one thing away since I went on this diet, and that was a loaf of bread because it was going stale. It was going to start getting moldy in the next day or two, so I threw it away rather than have moldy bread in my kitchen. But if you go in my freezer, I have ice cream sandwiches, pierogies, pot stickers. There might be some oven french fries in there. In my closet, it's all kinds of, like, there's Belvita breakfast bars. There's not candy bars, but like the Nutrigrain, the sweet and salty, salty sweet trail bar type things. There's some of those. There's popcorn. There's Triscuits. All these things in my closet downstairs. I have an entire fridge full of beer, rum, and vodka. I have no cravings for it. I'm perfectly happy eating bacon, sausage, pork chops, cheese, nuts. Those things have been working just great for me. Even the vegetables have been working. So yeah, I've got real lucky on that side. I don't know why I didn't have that flu. Maybe it's still coming. Maybe I haven't hit that wall yet where all of it's out of my system. We'll see. But after 8 days, I'm feeling pretty darn good. So I think that does it. In the next video, I realize I do need to put one video together now to explain what it is I'm eating, and that's 10-15 minutes in its own. So that'll be next, and hopefully you'll stop by, check that out, see what's going on. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, share in your stories, recommendations, things like that. Until then, no. Until next time, this has been Paller. Paller! Oh, no. Wrong gaming channel. Wrong channel. This is Bob. Thanks for watching.